you're working for the Forestry Commission, and the Forestry Commission are very keen on this. So what are you doing to promote wood fuel?
Right, well, we have a wood fuel strategy, and that strategy is to try and encourage people to use wood fuel, and we have a target to produce 2 million tonnes of wood from undermanaged or unmanaged woodland in England by 2020. At the moment we hardly use any of our woods, and as a consequence a lot of our woodlands are overgrown and undermanaged, and they've become quite dark and cold places, and not very good places for wildlife and for plants and butterflies. So we're trying to encourage people to use wood fuel, to open up those areas, to bring light in and life back into our woodlands, and this target of 2 million tonnes is about half the sustainable yield that our existing woodlands can produce. So it's really a call to arms to try and encourage people to use woods for the benefit of our woodlands.
Okay, but there are no grants or anything special?
There are grants.
Oh, there are grants.
Yes.
How does that work?
There's a multitude of grants. There's grants for managing the woodlands, for planning how to manage the woodlands, for creating new woodlands. There's also grants for installing boilers. There's grants for buying equipment to process wood, so firewood processors or pelletizers, for example. So there are grants from just about every part of the supply chain to try and encourage people to do this.
Okay. Would it be fair to say the Forestry Commission are very supportive of people who buy small woods where they intend to use the produce?
I think
wood fuel?
Anybody who's intending to use the product for wood fuel is being supported by the Forestry Commission.
What about the transport issue? You might have a woodland that's half an hour from where you live. How do you get these logs back to your house?
Well, the only way really is by road at the moment. I mean, basically there's a range of different types of haulage equipment, but obviously the closer to your house the better in terms of both cost and carbon emissions, really.
Yes.
There's no simple way.
I suppose a lot of people buy a trailer or...
Yeah, that's one way of doing it.
So I live in a city and I have a woodland in the countryside. Can I just burn this at home?
You can, but you do need an appliance that is approved for use in smokeless zones. And there is a list of those appliances and the manufacturers that's available on the internet. If you Google smoke control zone approved appliances, then you should be able to find that list.
Okay. And if I own a wood and I'm cutting wood for firewood, will any sort of wood do, or do I need particular varieties?
If you're talking about open fires and stoves, you're really talking about hardwoods predominantly. If you're talking about pellets or chip, then really any wood will do. The only thing you need to be a little bit careful about is not using material that's too thin, because that tends to have a higher bark content, which increases the ash content, and that can cause a few problems. But it doesn't matter what species, as long as it's just wood.